Alex here with a video on judicial scrutiny, specifically organizations, which could include like websites that provide statistical information in particular, but also reviews to the public on the competence of the judges in a particular jurisdiction. It could be a city, a county, a state. The point is that it's uniform across the board, and what really matters is that voters are able to compare so that they can kind of understand which judges are good and which judges are not so good. Right now, there really isn't much oversight on judges with respect to providing the voters with information. There are articles and sometimes like news coverage, but that doesn't really count because that's more of a judge that was cherry-picked by a reporter or a particular organization that just wants to write an article on a judge, whether it's good or bad. There are some websites that allow people to post reviews on judges, but these have so little credibility that they almost may as well not even exist, because no one actually uses that information in an election to determine whether or not they don't want to vote for a judge. A lot of people, when they see those reviews, they think, well, that's probably just an angry litigant. Who knows what they did wrong? A lot of people blame the litigant that's posting the review. To my knowledge, attorneys don't go on those websites and use them. Another thing, to my knowledge, is they don't really rank that high in search. And I think the last thing I want to mention is they mainly take submissions on a case-by-case basis, or more so as they're given to them. They don't actually go and seek out data for all of the judges in a particular jurisdiction. So again, you still have the problem of not being able to compare and contrast. Some of my viewers know that I created Our Nevada Judges, and it's for the most part a website, www.ournevadajudges.com. I do have a Twitter and a Facebook that does provide a few posts, but for the most part it's just driving traffic to the website. And what that website does is it compiles statistical information on all of the district judges of the state, both the family division ones and the ones that are not in the family division. And the statistical information provided is highly relevant. It's how often judges make mistakes on the cases they make decisions on. The mistakes are not measured by the litigants or by the attorneys. The mistakes are measured by the appellate courts. So when an appellate court, in Nevada we have two, we have the Supreme Court of Nevada and we have the Court of Appeals, when they reverse the decision of a district judge, or when they issue a writ against that particular judge to correct a mistake, the website tallies that mistake, and it also tallies the correct decisions, and it comes up with a percentage. The percentage is I call the percentage the error rate on appeal, but it really includes writ review as well, which is a type of appeal. For those of you who haven't seen my video, writ petitions, this is a good time to take a look at that to see what I'm talking about. The point I'm trying to make is I came up with this idea, and I wanted to see just how interested people would be in a website that did not necessarily take subjective feedback from people who've been in front of a judge, but instead took objective feedback from an authority. And the data that I have compiled goes back to 2014, at least consistently. I have a lot of the cases that go back much further, but some of them are not in the electronic system in the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals docket websites, so I'm just not able to get all of those cases. But it does seem to be getting a lot of interest. It is making an impact. I have received emails from attorneys and judges on it. A lot of the people in Nevada have commented on the social media faces, there's two, Twitter and Facebook, and have for the most part given positive feedback on it. I'm doing this video because I'm thinking it's time to see if it can go further. I have a request from a dad in Indiana who won his child custody case. He got primary, physical, and sole legal custody. He's also a software engineer, and he wants to run our Indiana judges. So what I'm going to do is basically clone our Nevada judges and see if he can populate it with the data, with all of the judges from Indiana, with articles and also cases, and basically do the same thing we're doing in Nevada and provide that information to Indiana. Another thing I wanted to do is see if there was anyone else that was interested in seeing if they wanted to sort of do the same exact thing in their state as well. It's not going to be something that can happen at the snap of my fingers. It takes a lot of exploration to see if it's even possible in your state. What it takes is basically an online portal or website of some sort that my software can pull cases from. It's not really something that I think will work if people have to manually input dispositions from their appellate courts. It's just, it would take a tremendous amount of work. The only reason our Nevada judges works, and the only reason our Indiana judges is going to work is because there is software that I can write that will scroll through and capture information from appellate courts and automate as much of the process as possible for the administrators running those sites. Indiana, and of course myself for our Nevada judges. I'm going to still go about creating the corresponding Facebook pages for each of the states, and at least have, I hate to use the word placeholder because it's not just going to be a placeholder, but at least have a place for people in those states to start to go to in preparation for expanding the idea behind our Nevada judges to whatever particular state happens to have people that are interested in it. If anyone here is interested in heading up their particular state, let me know, and I'll move the people that are interested into those Facebook pages and allow them to administrate those pages. I don't imagine that this is something to get crazy excited about because, like I mentioned, a lot of exploration has to happen to see if the model will actually work in your state. There may be some people in some states who have to wait for some kind of legislation or some kind of mandate in their state that requires their judicial body to create a docketing website that I can, write software to pull data from. But at least until that comes, the administrators of those states can be there and sort of collect people that are interested and post relevant articles and news on what's going on in their state with their judges. So there's going to be a bunch of Facebook pages opening, and also I'm going to create corresponding Twitter accounts. And I just really wanted to do this video to let people know that this method seems to be working in Nevada. And I think it would be something that's great to extend to all the other states. I'm, of course, not going to be able to run all of the other states, but I'll be able to at least clone the software that makes our Nevada judges works and host the other instances of that software on my servers to get it so that the other states have at least a website that's going to be there and ready to go once we either have some kind of source to pull cases from and articles from, and also once we have people to curate the data. So I hope that this video is heartening to a lot of people who are hoping to see the type of judicial scrutiny that I'm able to do in Nevada also in their state, and I hope that people who are curious about it come forward. The last thing I wanted to really mention is it's not going to, at least my opinion is, until your state is activated, it's not going to take a whole lot of work at all. I imagine 1 to 2 posts a day on Facebook or Twitter would be all that it would involve, at least until the website in that particular state activates. And at that point, it would become more of an ordeal, especially to initialize the database with all of the, maintaining the cases and the articles isn't as much work as putting in all of the cases and articles up until that point into it. That's what takes a lot of work. And if there's anyone that just doesn't have a lot of time and is willing to sit on the group while it doesn't have a site and just kind of be there until it activates and has a site, that's also another possibility. So for people who just don't have a lot of time but are interested in just handling the page itself, and then if at any point later on the website is able to run for that state, they want to step down and have somebody else take that over, that's also a possibility. If anyone has any questions, feel free to send me questions at admin@theproperperson.com. And I suppose with that, I'll see you guys next time.